Okay, I've gotten a little flavor for how the left or the news media, CNN particularly, is trying to handle this. And one of the avenues they're taking is, no, there's got to be more to this. I just can't believe these are great people, the FBI, and of course they may be political, but when they get up every day, but they would not do that. Well, they did do it. Let me cut to the chase here. What really happens when whoever did it, Rosenstein, whoever made this FISA warrant application? And again, for those of you that, I don't want anybody to be confused. FISA is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. It came into being after 9/11. And it was to enable us to spy on Americans, spy on people within the United States who might be terrorists, who might be plotting similar attacks. And we created a special court that's secret and hidden called the FISA Court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court. And it is there that the Department of Justice and the FBI go for permission to spy on Americans. Warrants. The judges at the FISA Court, they rotate. You don't know who they are. All of this is very secretive because it's classified. So somebody goes to the FISA Court to get a warrant to spy on Donald Trump under the pretext that Trump may be working with the Russians to steal the election. Then after the election, the warrant said Trump may have worked with the Russians. And that's why we need to find out and see what we can do about it. The effort was to try to get rid of Donald Trump and to prevent him from being elected and then set up an impeachment case. In any event, when whoever goes to the FISA court to present their evidence to the judge to get a warrant, they lied. They lied to the court. I don't know how this can be spun. I don't know how you can say they're really great people, the FBI, and they're great people, DOJ, and I just can't believe they... Well, somebody did this. They had a totally fake document that they knew was fake. They did not tell the court that it was fake, and they did not tell the court that it was a politically originated document with the Hillary campaign. In order to add credence to the dossier, the applicants included media coverage that had occurred after the dossier had been made public. Well, the media coverage of the dossier was by definition untrue because the dossier is untrue. So a series of lies were told to the FISA court, and they worked. The FISA court granted the initial warrant to spy and renewed it 3 additional times. So they can try to spin this all they want. The FBI says they have grave concerns here because there's a lot of information left out of this. It's an incomplete story. Material facts have been omitted. Well, then, by all means, tell us what they are. Now that the memo's out there. And if it's wrong, and if material evidence has been omitted, if Nunes didn't tell the whole story, then by all means, fill us in. That's what all this is about. You know the pollster for Hillary Clinton, Mark Penn, he now runs a polling unit at Harvard. He has a piece today at thehill.com that would make you wonder how this guy ever worked for Hillary. Get this. Here's just the opening paragraph. Both the New York Times and the Washington Post yesterday ran editorials calling for prior restraint on a memo written by the duly elected chairman of the House Intelligence Committee after he and his staff reviewed classified documents related to the so-called Russia investigation. By the way, Nunes didn't make any of this up. The memo's written based on what they were told and what Nunes has seen. And remember, the FBI refused to go up and answer subpoenas to testify for over a year. Mark Penn says These editorials in the Washington Post, the New York Times, are a stain on American journalism. I have no idea what's in the memo. He said, well, we do now. But he says it's a memo. It's speech. It's from the very staff, the very people that our Constitution assigns to oversee the Justice Department and the FBI. And the elected officials who wrote the memo think that we should see it. They're the people we elected. They're our representatives. They think we should see it. The people who don't want us to see it are the elected officials and leaders of the Democrat Party, the institutions and individuals whose actions are being reviewed, and several of the same newspapers that went to court to publish the Pentagon Papers, as I pointed out yesterday. He makes the point, do you know for about a year, anybody who wanted to could read the dossier? BuzzFeed published it. The media was hawking this thing around town for Washington for over a year. You've been able to read the lying, made up, totally false, Steele dossier anytime you wanted for a year. The Washington establishment, while pushing that on everybody and enabling you to read it, is trying to deny, or tried to deny you and I the opportunity to read what an investigative committee's results say. And let's not forget all the ancillary things that we know now with the text messages between Strzok and Lisa Page. The evidence that the players involved here knew what they were doing and were trying to suppress their own actions. This is sordid, folks.